Holy crud, do we have a show for you this week, folks. This is crazy. This is the best. Prez. You might know her as Sage of Tristan and Sage, or the original Sinfluencer. She's amazing. She's fucking brilliant. This was so much fun. This episode starts out with 100% more nudity than we've ever had in any previous episode. So I had to be crafty in the editing. Cha-chink. Maybe I shouldn't have been. Jeff and I talked a little bit afterwards about how this was one of our favorite podcasts we've actually ever done. So, without further ado...
Joshua, you just come in and out if you could crawl on the floor like I did.
Yeah.
What's wrong with me? Hello, how are you?
I'm good, how are you?
Great, I'm so glad that we get to hang out because if you're Joshua's best friend, that means you're my best friend too. I am we're very similar, Joshua and I.
I'm assuming so. Very much so. Yeah. Well, and like it is, you already know, it's weird how much penis happens with band guys.
I know.
Yeah, right. It's like...
I do think that it would happen with women if we had something more external. Because I mean, like the reality of it is with boobs, you can't really go that far with them unless you're like in the 60s for some reason.
Well, and they're pretty.
Yeah.
You know, yeah. Like,
but you don't really want to be like, you know, like
yeah,
what's
dicks are ugly.
You can't really do anything funny with the boobs. Yeah. Not really. Yeah. It's all just kind of like, okay.
I guess you could helicopter it, huh? You could like, but it's not like the same. Yeah. Because that's a go-to.
I could see like a teabagging situation, but it feels too maternal.
Yeah, it's
in a really gross way. So you're just kind of like, ugh.
Okay, there we go. Ready to... Oh gosh, band guys. So, dude, right before we got on here, I should grab the stuff I put in my eyes so I don't look so stoned.
No, you look fine. Nothing works for my eyes on. It just.
How much do you smoke?
A lot every day, but since I try not to. Okay, on the record, never during the day. Only when I'm done teaching. You know, off the record, teaching. As much as I can to keep me going. He thinks he's so funny. Josh, you can't see, but Joshua, you're not in the frame. There we are. There you are. A little bit more. Just come a little bit more.
Oh my God, that's so funny. Now I will actually take a picture of this. It's so fun.
I can't believe, was that your first time showing Leif your pee-pee?
Oh, he saw it all, yeah. Oh, God.
He's seen your pee-pee before?
No, that's the first time he saw my pee-pee.
That's really bold.
About it, was it?
That is really bold.
He seems like the type of guy who can handle seeing another guy's pee-pee.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, I've been in...
I'd say Leif's seen a lot of pee-pees.
I've seen so many penises.
Yeah?
What now?
He hasn't done like the intro.
We could edit it out. We could edit. Oh, well, now Jeff's coming.
Now Jeff's here. Ready, Joshua? Wait, yeah, come here, Jeff. You're missing out.
That's a sweet dong. The sweater, you can be in the club.
Then you can be the
All right, you're Catholic. You just practicing the robe thing.
He just stubbed his toe on the way out. So
stubbed his what?
Stubbed his toe.
At least it was his toe.
It was his toe.
Oh, yeah. So he's practicing to be an altar boy. What's going on there?
Well, he's rehashing some childhood trauma. So we'll let him have that.
Sort of, little unpacking.
There's packing. Yes.
There's been a naked man coming in and out of the background for the people just listening.
Wow. That's a good morning. That's a how's your father?
Yeah.
Hey, great to see you.
Great to see you. How's it going?
Good. How are you? What the hell's going on?
Good. Just drinking some tea and
Got the brown tea.
coffee. Oh, yes.
Nice.
Oh, I
Yeah.
love Phil's. I had a cup of coffee already.
Dude, yeah? Phil's?
So,
What's
love
Phil's?
Phil's.
What's
Phil's didn't it start in New Jersey?
I don't know, actually.
I'm pretty sure it started in New Jersey, but it's just a really good coffee shop.
Yeah, it's a pour-over coffee shop. You want to hear something hilarious? When the pandemic hit,
Yes.
I went on Reddit and figured out how they make their coffees.
Phil's specifically?
Yeah. Because I'm
And?
obsessed with them. And, well, yeah, so it's like, yeah, so now I make it like them.
How do they make them?
Well, yeah.
What's
So-
the secret?
The real secret is, I have found, is you got to let it bloom when you do the pour over. So you got to put water in there for 30 seconds, even though they don't. And then you take the heavy whipping cream, like not like half and half, like heavy whipping cream, and you shake it up before you put it in.
Oh.
So at the very top, you put in heavy whipping cream, just a little bit. You shake it up. It's all frothy, foamy. And it's like,
And do you put sugar in it too?
I put sweetened condensed milk in the bottom because because
Because you like the Lucky Charms of coffee.
it's not that, it's actually because I put two full, like, this is the equivalent of 2 pots of coffee in here. I put like 9 scoops of coffee in the top.
Into one cup of Joe.
Yeah.
That's incredible. Leif, have you told Joshua this? Because he loves Phil's.
Oh no, we could just sit there all day and talk about our feelings.
Yeah.
Oh dude, this is a great thing.
That's all we need to do, really.
It's like that's pretty churchy. That's pretty small groupy.
Oh, yes. I do remember one of the first things I remember hearing when I got to APU, or Azusa Pacific University.
Oh,
was
you went to
that-
Azusa.
I did.
Wait a minute, what is that? What is
It's
it?
a private Christian college, but it's the sister school of Seattle Pacific University,
Yeah.
SPU. There's a lot of like Mark Driscoll stuff.
So
and-
so SPU is like, that's where I take my dog to poop in the morning.
Oh,
They're like the next, like, we're just above the college.
Oh, that's fantastic.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So it's funny. We always thought that maybe it would be like I don't know. There's a college right there. The most obnoxious thing I've ever seen that let you know there was a college and college students nearby.
White guy with a guitar. No?
Nope, close. One, it was one condom wrapper and 2 shotgunned White Claws.
Wow.
That's the most entropy, or what do you call that when you can tell something like the waste
Debauchery.
product of a yeah.
That's
Dude,
pretty
right.
rad. Because I feel like they probably went to their churches or their like, what's it called? Why can't I think of what it was called that we had to go to it? Chapel.
Small group? Chapel.
Chapel. We had to go to chapel 3 times a week, but I went 5 times a week, sometimes more, because
so-
I worked it.
Okay, so I'm like behind the curve on you and your lovely husband's relationship and how you met. I sort of picked up that, is this your second marriage?
No, I was engaged before. I did the whole like met someone in college, and then like everyone kept saying, God has put you in each other's lives, like you're meant to
God.
be, all that stuff. And then
No.
we did like even premarital basically counseling, which is basically we just talked to the pastor at the church, and then we did daily devotionals and all that stuff. We ended up actually moving to the Bay Area. Well, that's where I'm from, the Bay Area. And so he moved up with me. We were working at the same church together. And then while we were living together and while we were still working at the same church, I ended my relationship with him. But I remember thinking, going to the senior pastor at this church saying, like, we have to tell you something. And they all thought I was going to say, they like thought I was just leaving. And I was like, we broke up. But it's weird to think about how much like planning went into this conversation with the senior pastor to
Yeah,
tell him that we were ending things. Like I was worried
Like it's
that
his life?
it would affect his job. So
Like he
I
was
do
gonna
try
get-
to keep that stuff like out. So if you need something like just because he doesn't have a voice in this, and then like I don't want to name the church, and then I also don't really want to name Azusa Pacific University. It's not a big deal, but I just don't want to name like throw everyone in the umbrella of like bad. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But anyway, to tell you, so I met him. We moved to the Bay Area together. We broke up. He moved out. I was single for a while. Got super sick. Moved in with Joshua. He got super sick. We both almost died.
Oh my God.
Then we started dating after I'd made his Bumble profile. Because his Bumble profile was just so lame. I was like, you're gonna get no traction.
Okay, so you gotta. So like, I'm gonna go ahead and age myself. What is Bumble?
Oh, you're good. I've never even had a Bumble account.
I don't
I have,
it's like
yeah.
Tinder, right?
Yeah.
Tinder for
It's
what? Like,
it's Tinder, but so Tinder, it's got this different thing. If you match with someone on Bumble, if they don't message you within 24 hours, it goes away.
Oh, see, I
So
didn't
it
know that.
entices people to actually reach out. Yeah.
Okay.
I would say because of my work, Joshua has gotten two relationships out of it. So if you need me to edit your Bumble profiles, anyone,
You got skills. Okay,
I
so
have
wait,
skills.
but so you guys moved in before? Like, how did you meet?
we were all at the same church at one point.
You, your ex fiance, and Josh.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, okay.
And we were all like, Joshua and I were on the creative arts team. My fiance at the time later got brought on. So we were like all working together. It was all fine. We actually like, he's still at that church right now.
Oh, wow.
My ex fiance. And he actually, yeah, it's a whole crazy story. I won't air his business out on there, but
Sure, yeah,
it is a very small little confined circle, this one church, and there's just a lot of crossover. And yeah, so Joshua and I were friends. We had done a lot of creative arts projects together. Like we always just had a really solid friendship. Like honestly, it was really, really fun. And then I was living in my car for a little bit because my parents sold their house. It's a whole thing. Then I moved in with my aunt. And his roommate dropped out because this person was going to work for the same like place that Joshua works. And so they found each other that way. And they're like, oh, great, we could live together. And then he dropped out at the last minute. And on a whim, we were like, well, I guess we trust each other. Like, I don't think you're going to hurt my kids. And I was like, I don't want to hurt your kids. And then, yeah, we were roommates for like a year and a half before anything, which is really interesting because
Beautiful.
you really got to like, because cohabitation is a big like no in the Christian circles,
Yeah,
but
yeah,
it's
yeah,
like
yeah.
we were living together, but not in a relationship. So like we learned a lot about each other just as, I think like if we were in a relationship, I feel like we probably would have fought. But because we were roommates, we were like, hey dude, like I noticed that the dishes you didn't do your dishes. So maybe, like we were very kind to one another. And then like I completely had my own life. So, but also we were like dying, literally. Like he almost went septic.
What happened?
He had got, he didn't know it, but he had diverticulitis.
Oh, geez.
Literally the day he turned 40. And he almost went septic. So he had to go into the emergency room. And then they scheduled stomach surgery. And he had at least 8 inches of his colon removed.
Oof.
I know. And they basically were like, you should have come in sooner, but he had just gotten furloughed from his job because of COVID. And so he didn't technically have medical insurance until like they just picked him back up. And so he was like,
The fucking artistic way.
yep.
Yeah, I've done that.
Yeah. So
Yeah.
anyway, then we started dating after all of that. Like we started growing a garden together. It's very beautiful. It could be a
What a cool.
Nicholas Sparks novel, but we started growing a garden together, and some might say later our love. And then,
was the garden the impetus for the romance? Is that where the love started?
Yeah, it was basically I got super sick with Lyme disease. I do still have chronic Lyme disease, technically. But I only say technically because I'm trying to just because a doctor tells me it's chronic doesn't mean it has to be chronic. Only in the sense of I'm not just gonna give up and be like it's chronic. There's nothing I can do. So I'm saying chronic because I do believe that there's something I can do. Anyway, so that started it, and basically Joshua just started growing a garden for me, literally, because when you have Lyme disease, you have mast cell activation syndrome, which basically makes you allergic to everything, and you just have
to grow your own food.
Yeah, so growing your own food, and then also we both didn't have jobs really, so just growing our own food made a difference, and then that really just started pouring into it of just this we really do care about each other as people and friends.
Oh, that's
that's awesome.
That's so beautiful. When did you start going to church?
Well, I first started in elementary school. I went to a school called Valley Christian, and we had to go to chapel every Friday, and it was it was a regular elementary school, but with Bible coloring books and imagining heaven and
imagining
verses.
Heaven.
Yeah, I was thinking about it this morning, but I remember one of my very first days because I came in in the middle of the year. So I'd gone to a regular public kindergarten first. Then I went to this school, and I remember the moment that my desk partner showed me how to read the Bible, because I didn't know that Genesis 2:19 through 28, I didn't know what that meant. So he's like, okay, so the big number is the chapter, and the name at the top tells you the name of the book. Then you find what's called the verse. And I remember that moment so vividly because it was also the same week that we all had to go to this assembly, and I mean the whole school. And we're in the gym, and we all had to close our eyes and imagine heaven together.
Wow.
Should we do that now?
We can. Should we?
And what grade were you in? That was second grade?
Kindergarten.
What?
Kindergarten.
Holy shit.
For
This
a homeschooler.
school, because it's
what age is that?
kindergarten. Well, the whole elementary school, they are kindergarten through high school. I know kids who went to the preschool all the way through the high school.
Is it a 6,000 year? Is it a young creationist science?
I honestly have no idea anymore because it was so long ago.
Oh, yeah.
But
That's early. That's
That's
indoctrination.
Oh yeah, because the first thing after my first couple days, or weeks, basically, I came home, or I went to my parents' office after school, and they're like, "How was your day?" And I said, "Oh, great. And by the way, I'm not afraid of dying." I'm in kindergarten, okay? I've always been, I think my parents have always been low-key afraid of me. I think they're always she's either really smart or is going to kill us in our sleep. You know? They just weren't sure for a while. They're I don't know if she's just overly stimulated or psychotic. And so, anyway, and my mom goes, "What?" And I go, "Well, yeah, because I'll go to heaven because I've accepted Jesus into my heart. And also, Jesus loves me more than you guys do."
Oh, it's true, according to the Bible.
Yeah.
And what's their response?
They went to go talk to the principal.
You fucker, that's our kid.
I think back on it, and it's funny to me because it almost makes me feel like how a parent would talk to Santa Claus, in the sense of what the heck, dude? We told you these presents are really from us. What the hell? You know? Why do you get to take? Okay, and so they were really upset by that because my parents are not religious. My dad was born in 1949. My mom was born in 1955, and so I really do think that in that period of the 40s to mid 50s, it's a lot of people would say they're religious just to kind of be safe to the neighbors next door.
Yeah.
But being Asian, my mom grew up also culturally Buddhist, and I say culturally Buddhist because you can't really, when you were in an internment camp, you're not necessarily comfortable with saying you're Buddhist, let alone like speaking Japanese. So my grandma was in an internment camp.
Wow.
Which it's had a really big impact on my view of religion since the very beginning, because it's not like I was a little kid who only knew of one religion. Since I was really little, I always knew of this and Buddhism, and then I always knew that Buddhism came before Christianity. So immediately I feel like my foundation was a little, something seems off here, because I don't believe all my family members are going to hell because
That's so
they're,
cool.
Right.
you know?
Yeah.
So, so my parents aren't really religious, but then my dad, growing up on the East Coast, being literally one of 3 Chinese students, like went to a private all boys Catholic school. But that's like a very just East Coast, like,
Yeah.
60s situation. So they just kind of believed in the, like, they thought the morals and the principles. I remember them saying that, because I'd always be like, why am I going here if we're not like Christian? Because then I started to be like, let's go to church on Sundays. And they're like, no. No,
What
like,
cool parents.
I know. Or I'd like try to tell them stuff about the Bible. My dad's a dentist. So he's like, that just doesn't make sense. So
Yeah. But they all had cavities.
yeah. Yes.
Oh my god.
So it's a really weird situation, because I am similar to Joshua in that, like, I really got brought into it later in life. And then I basically was like an imposter my whole time there, really, because everyone just assumed that I like went to Sunday school, went to VBS. But I really didn't do any of that, not really, until I got into like high school. And then I started doing a little bit of like youth groups, but I never did missionary trips.
Okay.
I don't remember like really studying all of these stories in the Bible that everyone loves to quote now, which I call them tape recorders. Anytime I talk to these Christians, I'm like, oh, there's going to be like 10 responses.
Grace, redemption.
Yeah, grace, redemption, journey, piggybacking, Paul. So like, all I want to say is people is like, you do know Paul never met Jesus, right? Like,
Right.
They
Didn't
never
know the guy.
He did
Never
not
met-
know him. Like, this is all like beyond secondhand information. Like,
Yes.
At
so
best.
much
At
time
best.
has passed.
Yes. Now, yeah. I ruined
That's one of
every
our
podcast.
that's our
doing-
contention. One of our contentions, isn't it, Leif?
Well, yeah, we
None
get
of the people in the Bible had a Bible, and none of them wrote what their names are on.
No, and
and in a way, it's kind of rad, like, because I've been studying it, and I won't go because I'll ruin this podcast. But like, I've been reading the 4 Gospels because we're about to read them side by side. It's
Yes.
horizontally, because not all the stories actually match up,
no.
and it's really weird because typically when you read the one Matthew, then Mark, then Luke, then John, it like there's enough space that the stories are similar,
Yeah.
really similar.
So
And
you're like, oh, yeah, okay.
yeah, so you're like, it's inerrant. But literally the whole first year of this podcast was me like, I've just been for 2 years reading books about this, what's textual criticism is what it's called. And it's me working through that with Freddie, just screaming, just like having mental breakdowns about things I didn't realize were in the Bible. I mean, even Genesis 1 and 2 have 2 different gods that create the world in 2 different orders.
Oh, yeah, gosh, I forgot
like-
about that.
It's a really weird, no one even really like, why isn't that talked about?
I remember that because I was taking an online class with this, I don't even remember his name, but he was one of those people who had 2 first names for a full name. So it was like James
Sean
Scott. Yeah. And so, and I don't know why. I'm like a very competitive person, and I feel intuitive. So I feel like I was like, all right, James Scott is like flexing on us. And I remember him bringing that up. And he also like would purposely change between referring to God as she, he, and they. Because he's like one of those people who's like, God doesn't have a gender, which I'm like, yeah, all right.
Back that.
Yeah.
Yeah, I back that totally.
But I do remember him bringing that up. So it's funny you said that. I haven't thought about that in probably like 6 years.
Yeah. Dude, what now? Would you consider yourself a Christian, or do you have any type of faith still, or?
I feel like, okay, the short answer is no. But a little bit longer of an answer is like, it feels really foolish to try to be 100% certain. Like, I really don't believe that. I think of the Bible as being like a historical book, a reference, right?
Yeah.
That makes sense. Yeah. But it also feels very similar to like myths of giant sea turtles. You know, like if you really think about it, you're just kind of like, wait a minute, this was in the Bronze Age. Like,
Yeah.
what did they, and then the more you look into it, you're like, this just doesn't make sense. Like, this isn't what they were thinking. We don't know, like, if God really chose the books for the Apocrypha. You know what I mean? Like, we just really don't know. And it seems really foolish to try to, like, really sink your teeth into that. But in terms of belief, I fall more in line of, like, just there's something that created it all, but it's not like they're monitoring it. It's kind of like when we make our videos on TikTok, like after a while we make them and then it's just they are what they are and then everyone else is engaging in them, is how I kind of view the world. But
so
then
we're God's first drafts? Is that what you think? He's like moved on.
Well, or God's platform.
When you think about all of the different planets and universes and how we like literally are a floating rock, you start to be like, why are we so special?
Wait a minute. There's infinite rocks around infinite universes. Oh, maybe they're all playing out at once.
And it's one of those things you pretend to understand. Like, we understand that concept.
Yeah, you can't even
really at least for me, like, I can understand. Like, you want to know something that blew my mind the other day that I don't know why I didn't think about this? That in space, if they're trying to like hit something with a weapon, a missile of some sort, they plan on where it's going to land. For some reason, I think I just thought it like had a sensor or a seeker, but like they can do the math to get it to where it's going to land.
Yeah.
And I'm like, here we are talking about Jesus. And
it's
a whole other trajectory.
It's like we're down here Mormon soaking for righteousness. There's billions and billions and billions and billions of planets above our heads. It's pretty silly.
It's very silly. So anyway, to answer your question, no.
Big X.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think I want to, but it's really hard.
You think you want to not be a Christian?
No, I don't. I would love to be a Christian. It was so fun being a Christian for a couple of years there. You play like Uno, and it's the funnest thing you can do. You're not thinking about anal. You're not thinking about drugs, you know. You're like, man, this is the most poppin' Friday night there is. There's like pop and pizza.
He said pop.
Is that caramel corn?
Soda.
Pop.
But
is that Cheese Whiz?
No.
Yeah, you get some fucking...
Those are Ritz crackers.
If you eat from the tree of the fruit of knowledge of good and evil, things get a little squirrely.
Yeah.
So you got to start wondering why God's letting this genocide happen, you know?
Totally.
Like, yeah,
but,
way to say it. So God controls everything.
But Leif, you consider yourself a Christian?
I don't. No.
You don't?
I like... I might be because I really love Jesus. I love the Jesus.
What's
guy.
Jesus' last name? What's his last name?
It's Jesus Christ. That's what everyone thinks.
When was
no,
his
we don't
birthday?
know his last name. He's Jesus from Nazareth.
When was his birthday?
when was his birthday?
October, September.
Ironically, it was
9 months after.
Oh no! You want to know my favorite? Check this out. Jesus was actually born in 4 BC. So technically, Jesus was born before Christ.
Hold on.
So even they got the birthday wrong.
Fact check.
Oh, it's so it's real.
Oh, it's real.
Yeah, it's real.
See, Leif does these things where he's like, "No, it's real. This is exactly when he was born."
You can fact check it up. Yeah,
you can fact check it with the Bible.
Yeah, we know his astrology sign.
No, we don't. They use the birth of what's the Herod. The days he ruled, because Herod died at this time, so they're like, well, then it has to be in this window Jesus was born.
Has to be. Who says has to be?
The people that study
who are
these,
invested in it.
Yes, Dan and all the other scholars that we follow and listen to because they're smarter than us.
Dan says that's his birthday.
That's a Bart thing.
What?
But that's
what?
Bart Ehrman. But there's like the person that came up with the calendar. Yeah, that's fine. I love it. Why don't you do this? Google it right now. He's like, I'm not signing off it, but I won't do any work.
That's true. That's exactly right. You know what? Prove it. I don't have to disprove it.
I just did.
You
really
said
didn't.
two dudes' names. That does not prove anything.
You
That's the
you are
laziest
good.
proof I've ever seen.
I've already told you. You got to go do some footwork now. I do all the work for this shit. You got to do at least one Google a month, dude.
Now,
just
what am
pick
I
your
Googling?
first Google.
Was Christ real? How about that? I'll start there.
No, see, that's hard. He was. I think it's real hard. He was a real human. But there's only the reference.
Maybe
yeah.
he was.
Can I tell you the evidence, and we'll see right
Ooh,
now.
I'm
the
really
three of us.
interested in this. Yes.
Yeah, because like, there's not much, like you said, and like you. This is a crazy fact. Around the time of Jesus' life, like the 30s, there is not a single pagan or non-Christian mention of him in any writing. So, in the Gospels, he's like proclaimed as this kind of like rock star. Like thousands of people are showing up, and they're like, they're bombarding him on the shores, and like, So you think if he was that like popular, there would be a single writing about him during the time he was alive, but there's not. No, they're like 20
until
to
Paul.
30. Yes, till Paul is the first. Yeah,
And Paul was an asshole.
yeah.
Who likes Paul? Paul was self-serving.
Everyone the Catholics love Paul.
They
They love him.
He's their guy.
He's
their
Peter's
fucking
their guy, but
He's the rock of the church, Peter?
Peter, yeah,
Yeah, okay.
which is funny because that's just a nickname, Rocky. From the scholars,
They actually called him Rocky?
yeah, that was like the way the Greek.
No. Rolling around, they're like, "Hey, Rocky!
Yeah, well, because he's
go get JC's robe."
well, because he's a kind of like a hard-headed moron in the stories, right? Like he tries to walk on the water, but then he sinks, and like he's the one that denies Jesus. So he's like known as like the let's rush into it, brash kind of dumb one. So like kind of fits, But those writings are all written, like we talk about, by Christians. I'm getting around to the thing you're about to pull up.
Okay, go ahead. I got some. Let's see. This is while billions of people believe Jesus of Nazareth was one of the most important figures in world history, many others reject the idea that he even existed at all. A 2015 survey conducted by the Church of England, for instance, found that 22% of adults in England did not believe Jesus was a real person.
Makes sense. I did too for about 2 years, and I was trying to do everything I could to like prove that because I'm like, he wasn't even fucking real. But like, I bumped into too much shit that seems like he was a real person. But I think his story was totally co-opted and changed and perverted. I think he was a poor, illiterate day laborer from this place called Nazareth. I like the psychedelic wine angle with him. You know what I'm saying? I think that was more of.
I'm into that.
Yeah,
right?
that makes sense.
But you figure, how did that guy? That was only for rich people. Like
what the psychedelic wine thing?
The mystics weren't passing that out to.
It's the John the Baptist, right? Because he has to. It's the whole temptation in the wilderness for the 40 days and nights and shit. Yeah, so maybe John the Baptist actually had that potion. Was out there brewing this shit, and that's why he was put out. This is totally me. I mean, this is probably from that
Oliver
book.
Stoning.
Yeah. No, I'm not. This one I'll call myself out on. But yeah, right. But like, maybe it could be.
I'm on board with the maybes. It's the part that like when that jumps the shark to this guy was an actual person just because all of these maybes exist.
Yeah, but
that's my beef.
So
that's
his brother,
my thorn.
His half brother, his brother James, when he died, was like such a loved human. He was like, until the day he died, he didn't own anything. He just gave to the poor, and he was this huge figure. When he was killed, there was a riot.
But now, do we know James actually existed?
There's tons of writings about him. So yes, seems to be. He wasn't the same James that wrote the book in the Bible. I just found out that sucked.
Why
do they use so many of the same names?
Really, like
It's
6 names. It's bullshit.
well, it's yeah, and also there's a lot there.
But so when you were saying that there are no pagan references to Jesus, are there pagan references to James?
Yeah, I think because and because this Josephus.
It's a yes/no question.
Well, there is a Jewish historian named Josephus, and so it's not. I don't think that would be called pagan, right? But it's not a Christian. This guy wasn't.
Other than the guys were like, other than the home team.
Yeah. And maybe there's some stories that aren't credible that Josephus became a Christian later on in life, but like
Is he just the one? Is he the one guy? Just the
He's
one
the
guy
one guy in the okay. So now, and here's the reference to
There's
Jesus
just
that
one
everyone.
guy 4 million years ago.
And it was like he literally says this.
sorry.
And the brother of James, the one they called the Messiah. So that is the only reference to Jesus, So it's like, but mind you, there was so many people back then. That's enough for me to be like, well, everyone said that this was the brother of Jesus, and then this says it was the brother of Jesus. Now, Jesus was most likely either left up on the cross and ate by wild animals, or buried in a common grave.
Metal.
Oh,
That's totally metal. Like that's like Norwegian metal.
Yeah, no.
Now wait. So wait, with the whole thing with the Easter Bunny and rolling the rock and leaving chocolate eggs, that's a farce.
Those are so that's in the Bible. Those are in and they have each gospel has a little bit of a different take on it.
So why
His
are you saying
resurrection?
most likely? Why are you saying most likely he was left up on the cross?
Because all of them were. And here's the thing: it's really weird. But Pontius Pilate wasn't exactly. He wasn't like a meditative, thoughtful guy. I think he sent thousands upon thousands of people to the cross. He didn't care.
You were saying that like the Jews complained and Rome actually said, yeah, dude, you're kind of out of line.
Yeah, they like
kill less Jews, would you please?
They formed a lot, like they lodged a formal complaint with Rome and won.
They went through the actual process.
Yeah, this guy's just
that
killing
has to be
all
a triplicate. We need triplicate. We did triplicate. Okay.
Yeah. And I think that is the biggest factor for me that says the Gospels were written much later after the Great Roman Jewish War, because they're painting Rome as the good guys, the people writing these books, and that's so they don't get fucking killed, because Rome just took over, and burned the whole temple down to the ground. So they're like, they pin it on the Jews. They just sidestep over here to the JC guy, and they just kind of mess up his whole vibe, send it through the years, fucking up everyone's lives. Here we go.
Funny that, and now he's the head of the Roman He's the deity for the Roman Catholics.
And like Jesus,
what's the irony there?
Right? He does not everything was about the Messiah coming back.
This is the
Sorry,
best.
You can wind me up.
No, this is the best. This is my favorite part. Like, why did he come back? We're getting the jack. That's so awesome. So that's my favorite part. The thing that I've learned from Leif, it was almost the first one, was that when he's arising into heaven, literally arising into heaven, he's like shouting at them, "Hey, before I'm too far away, I want to let you." I'm just before you're dead. And then they
that's
couldn't
how
hear him.
those sound effects are made.
Just like,
That
what?
was incredible.
What? You'll
Is
be
he
right
yelling at them?
back.
I'll be right back before you're dead.
I
We'll
said,
take
"Shit,
over Rome,
dude."
I promise.
Which day? How many days?
Well, yeah, and like Mark 9:1 and a couple other verses, Jesus literally says, like, no one here is going to die before I come back. You're all going to be living. And it's like, when you get to Paul, it's like,
Moses.
maybe he's not,
Well-
it's in the future.
Well, that's
We're
'cause
going to
Paul-
all die. Then we'll all raise up. But it's, and then by the time you get to the 400s, it's like, it's metaphorical completely.
he was metaphorically saying he'd come back before we're dead.
But
That's my favorite shit of the.
just moving the
so
fucking
good.
goal line.
Seriously, we're not even in the stadium anymore.
Well, we can see it still.
Was there ever?
Right?
Yeah.
So good. But I just love the visual of him like floating away, yelling until they can't hear him. And what do you say? It's just the funniest shit ever. It's like, well, he's God, right? So couldn't he just like be in their thoughts, like aliens? Aliens.
I was gonna say it'd be funny if the scribe came just a little bit late, and that's how we find all these clear.
What'd he say?
He's like, wait.
Yeah, he was like running up the mountain.
Floating?
He's like,
hi.
I overslept.
So, hey, what?
The Bible's a good time.
There is. We're reading the apocryphal books right now.
Oh gosh.
Yeah, we're almost through Enoch. It's fucking crazy.
Enoch
Yeah,
is
we did. I don't think we can. Sorry, you'll have to edit this out for safety reasons. But we got a crazy letter in the mail,
Whoa.
and it
From
was
who?
like, let me. I won't. Well, we don't know. It's
Someone-
from
you're getting
somebody
threatened?
from
like a fan.
North Carolina. Not a fan. They told us to wake up. They were quoting like Jubilee and
How do you spell that?
I've never even heard of that one.
and
That's
so,
not JEW.
they were.
A play on words.
Oh gosh, what were they? But they were like referring to the Apocrypha in another book. I don't know why I can't think of what it's called. Let me see if Joshua can hear me. Oh wait, I have a phone.
The Book of Judas?
Give me a second here. It was basically saying that like, and basically telling us that we should. It wasn't like telling us to stop doing what we were doing, but basically that. Let me get it. It's so weird. This person is definitely unhinged.
I don't like this.
And when you say mail, like a piece of like snail mail?
Yeah,
No shit. Like they wrote it?
yeah.
Oh dear.
But it's weird because like the backside of it looks like it was like the first typewriter to type up a hymn ever. So like there's like it seems like
Some
it's
guy at a-
old.
Chunk.
Oh, yeah, at a bell tower in some weird church out in Delaware.
Yeah, I kind of
Or-
imagined he wrote it by candlelight even.
Yeah. Yeah. And how did they get your address?
Well, that's the
It's-
thing. I guess
everyone can find
everyone's
everybody.
address is just there.
Everyone
Oh,
can find everybody.
Wow, that's they
Yeah.
asked
Easiest.
God or Google.
Yeah. God. Yeah.
It's either God, Google, or Sage.
We'll keep you guys safe. Well, we'll make a compound somewhere.
We got people to do
Yeah,
that.
we'll put our backs together.
That's our dream. Ooh, I think it's here. He's hello.
Hello.
Mail delivery
Uh,
from
Hi.
Ethiopian Jew.
Wait, why are the
That's
pants?
who sent this.
Why are the pants on? Wake
What?
up! Oh, it's writ. Oh dear.
But then do you see this part? See this kind of
Oh.
font?
Oh my god.
So
That's before fonts.
you sure we can't show
and
this?
also this is oh, you're okay with sharing this?
Fuck yeah.
Oh, okay. I was just thinking about your
I love it.
ex.
Oh, no, worry about that.
Oh, you're not? Okay. All right, here. Sorry about that. I was worried because like basically he didn't want
Yeah.
to talk about her. But okay, here's the clean. So we got a letter in the mail.
Yeah.
There we go.
And
crazy.
on one side, first of all, it's addressed to Shepherd, which is obviously Joshua. We have this here, and then we have this handwritten thing on the back.
Wasn't quite done with the typed message. There was more he needed to unload.
Yeah, some things.
You found
that-
another candle.
Oh, no letter J until 1524. We've got Jeremiah 16:19, Revelation 22:14. New Revelation would have to be in here. Matthew, but basically, check the Hebrew.
Well,
Please forgive
that
me
J
for
thing's right, though.
Ever. Sin is transgression of the law. Do you want me to just read what it says?
I think so.
Why
Okay.
not?
Look it up. To the redeemed, Gentile. Abraham was born a Syrian. He obeyed the father and crossed over, where we get the word Hebrew, into canon. Through trust and obedience, Abraham became the first Hebrew. Hebrew is a spiritual people. The father cut a covenant with Abraham, which is to all people keep Yahweh, which they are doing the WHVH for Yahweh.
Yeah.
So, like, that's important. Commandments, parentheses, his Torah. which is to enter his covenant, and he will be your everything. Deuteronomy 28, Exodus 12:49. Now we have the blood sacrifice of Yahweh's perfect only begotten Son, parentheses, to cleanse from sin. The Father nor his Son ever changes. Malachi 3:6, Hebrews 13:8, Galatians 1:8 through 9. Messiah came preaching the only gospel. Repent, for the kingdom of heaven is at hand. Repent is a sorrowful, sincere turn from sin. Sin is transgression of the law, Torah. 1 John 3:4. So you're starting to understand, okay, this is once redeemed to stop breaking Torah and start obeying Torah. This is the good news, which the word gospel means, thank you, that all men can be reborn, repent, and return to the initial and only covenant made with this Abraham and renewed at Sinai with Moses. The enemy used Rome to hide this. There is no Roman nor Christian covenant. The devil which deceives the whole world. Revelations 12:9. Almost done here. 1700 years ago, the enemy used Rome to detour the Hebrew gospel, corrupt the scriptures. Go online to get Hebrew to English translations of scripture at Bible Gateway. That's a great tip.
This is great. He's not wrong.
I like the complete Jewish Bible and push Christianity into fulfillment of Daniel 7:25. Later, Martin Luther stepped out of the side door of the Roman Catholic Church to establish modern Protestant Christianity. Reformed heresy is still heresy. The scripture constantly reminds us to keep Yahweh's commandments, and scripture cannot be broken. They're quoting John 10:35, Psalms 119:89, Isaiah 48. To infinity, this is a danger sign, not a debate invitation. I love you dearly, and I am free from your blood. John 14:15, John 2:1-6, Deuteronomy 11-26, and then like the handwritten stuff. It's not that long. So Amos, that's what he was quoting.
Oh yeah,
Amos 3:7. Christianity has no positive prophetic mention in all of Scripture! Exclamation point. In fact, Christianity has no, underline this word, mention in Genesis to Malachi, Matthew to John, Paul's, I don't know what that says, Paul's writings, Revelation, or the Hebrew. Neither is Christianity ever personally referenced or acknowledged by the Father of his Son. The devil which deceives the whole world. Cold, hard fact. Wake up.
I wonder what the fuck this is about.
I don't really
yeah. Cold hard fact.
So yeah, what do you guys think? Oh, I know. Jubilees 23:26. Jubilees. Jubilees 23:26.
That is weird.
What is that?
I don't know. I've never even heard.
Oh.
Yeah, I don't know. I wanted to know what that was too.
I mean, so the one thing that's unfortunate is it's forever people take these 66 different books written at different times in different economic statuses with different languages, and they act like it was a book, like we said at the beginning, that was just shit out underneath the cross when Jesus died. Yes. Yeah. And but like, some of the stuff that guy brought up was right, but unfortunately it just sounds like that guy has got all this stuff really close to the chest, and that's the problem. I like fundamentalists and fanatics about this stuff is like, you can use the Bible like Google and take this verse here and take this verse here and take this verse here, and you can create anything you want.
I know. It's like people think confirmation bias only existed with the birth of the internet. It's like confirmation bias is, have you not written a report in your life? Like, that's the first thing we learn how to do, is to support an argument that we're supposed to make through
that
research.
Makes sense.
That's like it. For any of our essays, it's never like, well, let's figure out if the sources are correct, and let's, like, where did these sources come from? What background do they have? It's like, yeah, well, let's just find things that support your viewpoint.
Yeah.
It's never, let's find things that like cause you to stretch and question things. At least in my upbringing.
Oh man, I was 27 and I was working at a coffee shop because bands break up, So, and there was this guy that would walk around the building reading different books all day, and I was realizing how little of my own brain I owned, because it was all just Christian rhetoric. And I was realizing, because I've been in it since a baby, that I don't know how to think. And so he came by the latte stand one time, and I was like, "Hey, dude, do you know any books on thinking?" Like,
Aw.
I'm not joking. Yeah, and I'm
amazing,
27. I know you know, and he got me a book on critical thinking, and I read it, and it was like, "What the fuck? You can do this?"
What, I'm
That's
not going to get in
insane.
trouble.
I
Wow.
know. Yeah. Well, and that was kind of cool too, because then I realized, there's a lot of knowledge out there in books. So,
Most of
Yeah.
the knowledge.
yeah.
Well, and that's like we're not. God, it's like I feel really bad a lot of the time for like being such a like a thorn, or like just like pointing out just reality or whatever you want to call it. But I really appreciate people's faith and whatever they want to believe. But when there's blanket statements of just like, this is true, it's like, wait. There's so much to, like, I don't ever want people to think that I'm making fun of spirituality or faith or anybody's beliefs.
Same.
It's just this overreaching blanket of assumed truths that I'm like, no.
Yeah.
I'm gonna pull this thread off and see what that's all it is just pulling threads off. And like, okay, explain this thread to me.
Yeah. Like, you know how there's, I don't even remember what it's called, but it's this idea that you can basically alter your memories of the past by just constantly
Cognitive
saying, like,
bias.
yes, yes, thank you. Critical thinking.
Nice work, buddy.
I took
Yeah.
a course on
But
it.
sponsored by this term. But basically it's just like a lot of the like Christian arguments that we get are just this, like, if I say it enough times over and over, it's true. And I don't understand. Like, I think it was, I forget who said this, but somebody was saying that we're not even teaching the skills to our students, to our children, to be able to combat that type of thinking. Like, we don't even talk about this idea of there's real people doing real damage because they've said something enough times that now they're choosing to make it true. Like, that's insane. And then how do we combat that? How do we teach children to think for themselves against that?
I'm gonna kill the internet first.
I just think you got to teach them how to use it. You got to teach them how to think. I tell them all the time, I'm like, listen, every video you see is trying to get you to think a certain way, and it's up to you to figure out if it's a good or a bad way. Okay.
Yeah.
So it's because, like, it is, everything is in their lives. But, as far as religious people go in that program, that's that tape recorder shit you were talking about earlier. That's why it depends on what congregation you go to. But it's the same words being said in the same order constantly. And for some reason, it fills these people's lives with all this, like, they're like, yeah, I totally believe.
But so like is truth relative? Is truth perspective? Like, maybe that's what like that's why I think some people like your guy get so upset, is because to him, I mean, if we're all the center of our own universe, then that guy that wrote your letter is right, and we're all just this really strange annoyance that he has to deal with.
Totally.
Because we don't see it the same way as him, and he has to convince us.
Touche.
It's like the Christopher Reeves movie where Somewhere in Time or whatever, where he wants to meet that woman so bad he just sits there and stares at the fucking whatever until he goes back and meets that woman.
I don't know this.
No, but this sounds fascinating.
Yeah.
It sounds like a movie I'd watch.
It's a great movie. It's actually a romantic comedy, but it's got some time travel, which is great for guys.
Time travel rom-com.
Yeah,
I'm into some rom-com.
I love that stuff.
I ain't got
Every
no
once in
problem.
a while.
Yeah,
They're great.
but yeah, it's hard to. I don't want to. I'm not trying to tell people their reality's wrong. Because who the fuck,
Yeah, and I think that's maybe how we start thread by thread, creating healing here. Because, we have a friend that comes on here. Well, hopefully, Kevin, come on here again. Kevin, come on. He's like this. He's amazing. He's an author, and he teaches at a Catholic university. And he's a mystic Catholic. And when he was like talking about the Bible and what faith should be, I was like, God damn it. I'm like, I was 5 seconds away from going to mass. I was like, it was so, like, it was rad. Like,
but he also was like, there's no proof.
Yep.
There's no proof. It's
Right
all
out
like,
the gate.
what
Well,
happened?
it's
I don't know.
faith-based.
Yeah.
So can't ever
Literally
combat that.
faith. And that's the thing that's always, like, my dad is a really intelligent guy. and he's a writer, and he was in the army, and he was an officer, and he's like signing up that these people with the robes and the are like turning the bread and the wine literally, not figuratively. They're turning that into a part of this dude's body.
Yeah.
And you're signing off on that. Like, you're
Yummy.
a smart person. Like, I know you've never smoked weed, but you drink a lot of gin. And like, you see the wiggle lines in the universe when you get, when you get into your cups, it's like, you can see there's seams to things.
Yeah.
Whatever. So, but you're going to, I don't
It
know.
doesn't make sense to me either. So then you're like, it has nothing to do with intellect or logic or even.
Fear of death, possibly.
Well,
That is like the big push, right, of Christianity and whatnot, is the afterlife.
Well,
and how
hell,
that scares
yeah, when-
people.
I guess
When hell is explained to you as a little kid, yeah, it freaks you the fuck out. Like,
Well, and I
I
think-
nightmares.
I think that's a big part of it, is the little kid part. Is like, when you're indoctrinated from the womb, right out of the box.
Yeah.
It's like breathing. I think you, especially,
yeah,
my dad was born in 1935, so he's like,
right.
Like that's when you weren't questioning this shit. You were getting a ruler.
Dude,
if
that's
you,
so
like-
close. That's so close to the Depression.
Yeah.
That's some hard times. Those
Right.
motherfuckers fear God because like
Yeah.
the ground just might give up on you.
yeah.
Like,
Yeah.
yeah.
So I get that, and it's kind of hard to fault that. If that, I don't want to say fault, but like, I understand the immersion. Well, like, fuck. I mean, Leif, you were immersed, and most of the people you grew up with are still immersed,
Yeah.
because it's so hard to get out of that body of water. Like, you have no tools,
Well, and you
They
get
just keep pouring the water in on you.
excommunicated. You're like, so it's weird. Like, some of my, like, people, I've been in their weddings and stuff. When they come up to me now, they're like,
Yeah.
and it's like, this is fun for me. I don't know. I know that you haven't read the whole Bible. It's like, but it's, yeah. So there's that too, like, and
It's like waterboarding.
well, yeah, man. And that's like, specifically, it's so interesting with the relationship side of it, because the church plays matchmaker for you so much. Like you're only allowed to date certain people that believe certain things. Like, if a girl goes to one of the churches that they speak in tongues, of what they call Pentecostal, they'd be like, why are you hanging around her? And then, so it's like, most of those people are in really bummer marriages and won't get out, and they're now toxic for each other, and they like don't realize it, and every day they're suffering for Christ in their fucking relationship, and their kids are like bearing the brunt. It's like,
No,
Yeah.
thank you.
no, it's rough, man.
Yeah, I mean, you don't need religion to be stuck in a toxic relationship. You don't need help with that.
No, yeah.
But religion will keep you in a toxic relationship.
They'll
yeah.
certainly help you. Yeah.
Amen. Yeah, especially if you're going to, like, if the pastor's giving you couples therapy.
Yeah.
In my experience, none of the pastors I've ever met with have any degrees or have any
I've never
psychology background. So
I've never met any pastoral counselor that has an actual like psychology degree. I know there are many, but
I don't think
Oh,
not,
yeah.
not in the Catholic Church.
No, there's some rad. Everyone hates it, but on TikTok, there's a lot. People get around there are pretty rad. Actually, there's some pastors that agree with everything we're saying, like all the errors in the Bible, all the problems with the texts. And
Right.
it's,
And
so yeah.
What are they signing up for? What are they trying to convince you of?
There's
redeeming-
what's his name? Adam something. I can't remember. He's got a PhD in Bible, and it. Most people that continually read the Bible, like me, eventually, I've experienced, you just lose your faith because you run into all those verses you guys are making songs about.
well, yeah, because I mean, like, even if you just ask the simple question, does your religion or does the Bible that you follow, this inerrant Bible that you follow and believe in, does it condemn slavery or not.
Oh man.
And then as soon as you ask that, it's like, well, slaves was a different word. Well, slaves, like it came from Slav, like Slavics.
no.
We know that. And like we understand that slavery like has existed, of course, beyond it even being a racial thing. It's just the same people in the same area. If human nature, if you want to call it, will want to take control over someone else. So like that alone, and then rape. So like why why are there not 12 commandments? Shouldn't those two be up there?
Damn.
So that's why it's just like just that. You don't even you could I think it's interesting to read the Bible. I still read on my desk. I have like 8 books literally because I'm one of those people who like reads multiple books at one time.
Yeah.
So like and I have like Peter Rollins. I have a book called Humble Roots by like a Christian. Like I'm always reading that stuff, and at the end of the day, it's like, but it doesn't condemn slavery or rape.
Yeah, that's a tough one. It's a tough one to get by.
Yeah.
You can lie. I mean, you can't lie,
babies.
but it's okay to rape people.
Yeah, you can't like be jealous of your neighbor, but
you can own people.
You can give your virgin daughters to a bunch of men.
I got in a huge. Oh my god!
Please take
Sorry,
my daughter instead of these men.
Yes.
Yeah. And don't show them any. Don't be mean to them.
No.
They've already been through a lot. So.
Motherfucking. So I'm up in a small town, and there's a great bar that will get you really drunk if you're not careful. And it's helped me through many heartbreaks. So I know the bartenders pretty well. And it's it's a small town, so it's Christian and Republican, and
like you're still in this town.
Yeah, I'm up here. I'm going back soon.
No, you don't live there though.
Oh, this is your other house.
Yeah,
yeah.
So you're renovating. Got it. Okay.
Yeah, it sucks.
You just can't seem to get away from Buckley.
I'm trying so hard. Fucking, but now I forgot what I was bringing up. You were talking about
slavery.
There's a bar.
A bar.
It's
Giving your daughter.
You could just
virgin daughters.
Why? Like what? Why? Why? Oh, dude, no, it train wrecked me when you said Buckley. I'm so sorry. I smoked too many joints. I'm sorry. I tried so hard.
That's all right.
But so the Bible and why people
you don't have to keep trying.
Yeah. I'm sorry. I was trying to give her a volley.
And
scene. Edit.
That's the get high part of get high and read the Bible right there.
This is 4 joints deep. We can start talking about aliens.
It's so impressive, Leif. Like honestly, like people will say like he smokes a bunch of weed, doesn't he? I'm like, you have no idea. Did I tell you that Dave Dieter came out to the show we played and he was talking about how high he was when he left here?
That's so funny.
He's like he was supposed to go on a bike ride. What's that?
That should be our goal is when we have a studio. It's like I'll just secondhand smoke every pastor we get in there. You know what I'm saying? Okay. We'll be like, it's got great ventilation.
So can I be in an isolation booth?
Maybe we'll just put one right above
like
you.
A whole day. It's a whole like Dave was wasted for the whole day. They were supposed to. They had this big plans. They were going to go on a bike ride and get some whatever. He had to like lay down.
I miss that feeling. You know what I mean with the tolerance. Like
yes,
I can't even.
Yes,
I don't think I've been that way for a whole day. So unless I'm like keeping up with it.
Yeah, I eat like the other night. I ate 800 milligrams.
Nice.
And played video games to try to relax.
The other night I drank
barely felt it.
Like a somewhat shallow bowl. I'm saying this to make myself feel better, but like a shallow bowl of maple syrup. Like I can't eat anything. But I wanted something sweet. And so I was like, fuck it. And I full on I dipped a pear. Like this just shows you how high I was at the time that I dipped a pear in the maple syrup.
Was it delicious?
It was incredible because you could it was a juicy pear. So when I went like this, I was able to go like with the maple syrup.
Wow.
That's better than goosebumpy.
Wait, that's way better than just drinking a bowl of syrup.
Yeah. So it basically was a sponge, pear sponge.
It was a delivery mechanism.
Yes.
And so you started with the pear, and then when the pear was done, you drank the rest of the syrup.
Yeah, because then it basically I was like, this is pear infused maple syrup.
Yeah,
This is so badass.
But that's what you gotta bring the pear, and you can't just say you drank a bowl of syrup.
I think at the end there, I did still do that.
I think we might. What if we just take these concepts that we have,
shit.
which is getting people way too high in small spaces, and then natural food, and we have a restaurant.
Oh,
You see what I'm saying?
wait, that's fun.
Where you
And
come in,
full
we just
experience.
right, like you walk in and we blow like with a leaf blower, marijuana in the whole room.
Yes.
You know,
Yeah.
like a World
Like,
Star video.
Have you seen the movie Game Over?
No,
Oh, you gotta watch it. It's so funny. But basically, they run pipes throughout the whole hotel to get them all high. It's really funny. That's not the premise of the movie, but that's just a part that happens amongst many. It's. I'm not gonna say anything. You should, if
I'm
you
in.
can, you should watch it. It's
yeah,
really
I'm in.
funny.
Well, and the Cheech and Chong movie where the van is made out of
Yeah.
weed and it burns outside the club
Yeah.
and it gets sucked in there and everyone's like, "What's happening? It's great."
I didn't know your name was Alex. Shit rules. Maybe that's our church.
That and the mushroom.
Well,
Mushrooms are very cool.
We should do that too.
Yeah. Well, so have you heard of this book, The Immortality Key? I think we can bring this up at this point. It's only diehards that are still listening at this point, right? Like,
Everyone's listening.
okay. Have you ever
One of our
have
best
you
ever.
ever heard of The Immortality Key, this book that just came out?
No, but I'm very interested.
Dude, it is fucking incredible. So this guy, he was supposed to be a lawyer, but he was kind of obsessed with like the Stoics and the classics, you know. So he has a degree in this, and then he speaks ancient Greek and like Sanskrit, like he speaks all the ancient languages from this time. And he got into this professor that basically got exiled, something Ruck, for coming up with this theory because they were finding wine vessels in the catacombs that seemed to be incredibly early Christian churches that would be meeting underground. Like,
Okay.
you know, we're talking like before Paul.
Whoa.
Yeah, before the writings of Paul. So they find these wine vessels that were used in these ceremonies, and they're spiked with ergot, which is a psychedelic compound. It's kind of like LSD.
That they synthesized ergot to make LSD. It's the psychoactive.
So they also find them in Spain a couple, like 100 years after this. So around the world in these Christian circles, they find wine vessels that have psychedelic, and some of them had cannabis. I can't say it because I'm so high.
Cannabis.
Thank you. So the Jesus, as a Jewish person, he really did kind of love the law. He loved the prophets. You know, he seemed to be like a really good Jew. Like, but there is something unique, not found in any Jewish ritual, which is the Last Supper, which is the wine ritual. So this guy went and studied this whole thing, and there was this religion called the Mysteries.
The mystics.
Everyone that was like of the upper class and elite would be initiated to it. You fast, you walk for 30 miles, you go to this temple, and these priestesses give you a wine, and you die before you die. And so then you live no longer afraid of death. And so Jesus, being surrounded with all these women, giving a wine ceremony to his disciples, who then go on to just fucking evangelize the fuck out of him, right? Mm-hmm. Some of them even get martyred for him. So, you know, Jesus might have been trying to update Judaism to this psychedelic religion.
Well, yeah. I mean, realizing how long this has been around, like I think it's in Mexico, Maria Sabina, the like godmother of mushrooms. I need to make sure I have her name right. Right. And then she was talking about how like she learned from her ancestors who were basically colonized by the Spanish, who wanted to obliterate the use of psychedelics or psychoactive whatever, because they found that they were reliant on their own relationship with God instead of having to go to like a church, basically. And they realized that they didn't have any dependency on them. So of course it would make sense that you just obliterate that. And we even see that just in our healthcare system. I mean, that's like a whole nother thing we can get into, but it's like we see that like it all started with like I grew up with my dad having herbs for my grandpa. Like my grandpa from China like had all of these herbs all over his apartment, and he made all of these remedies and things I didn't even know what they were, and they were amazing. And now we're finding ourselves like coming back to that full circle, but it's like this is just always how it's been. Like we didn't. It's all these pharmaceutical companies. I'm getting us off topic.
No, I love it.
No,
I love
awesome.
it.
That's so great.
But it just makes you, of course, it's a dependency thing. Like imagine if they never got rid of the psychoactives, the psychedelics. And like imagine if, because like children in Mexico will take it almost, I don't want to say it's like a Eucharist, but basically they take like this, like a mushroom, they have an experience, they die, like, and then come back to life. And it's this whole enlightenment thing, and very close to God. So, I mean, it's only been demonized by media and other religions.
Yeah.
But
they want to be they want to get between you and your spirituality, or your God-given, your innate
divine.
Divinity, exactly.
Yeah.
Yeah, they want to
like
keep
it's
an
all
eye
inside
on
you.
us.
You're a God. You know, we're all magic. And what you said about the Eucharist, that's exactly it. Like the Catholics and the Christians, they like bastardized this ceremony. Oh no, we're turning the wine into the body of blood of Christ. It's like no, that
Yeah, like the psychedelics make more sense than
makes way more sense. That you can
turning.
get,
You're like, okay, that makes sense. Dudes were all last supper.
We're gonna see God.
Yeah,
Dude, I was
when
an
he said you'll
atheist.
see me again, that's what he meant.
Yeah. There you go.
Well,
You just gave me goosebumps. That's awesome.
Yeah, I was an atheist until I did a bunch of psychedelics, and I was like, oh man, I don't know fucking anything.
Yeah.
Right?
I don't know fucking anything.
Yeah, because when I had my experience, I just remember like first, I mean, it really is just like our connection to the environment. Like I really do believe as humans, we have empathy and a voice to speak for the voiceless. So like when I went on my trip, the first experience I had was like a love and adoration for my dog Barney, who's been with me for 14 years. And I was thinking about it, and I was like, that's the closest I feel to any sort of spiritual connection, is really my relationship with my dog. And for anybody else, it could be anything different. You know, it doesn't have to be an animal. But for me, it has always been animals, especially Barney, because there's no verbal communication between us ever. But like, and yet we understand this balance of like love and consent with one another. And it really does, like, you really can communicate. I mean, I read a lot of books on communicating with animals and stuff, which not like in a way of like learning to speak dog, but more of understanding like why they do what they do, you know? And so like, I really do feel that that's the connection that because it's here. I sound like a conspiracy theorist, but like we don't know what's going to happen afterwards. But I do know that I have this dog that I've had for 14 years that I really, really just love. And it seems beyond something of this, like it seems bigger than you. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Kingdom of Christ is upon you.
And also like the fact that dogs and animals are not like really don't go to heaven, the whole soul thing.
Yeah.
I'm out.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah. And what about trees?
Yeah, we know they talk to each other now. So
They play.
Oh, yeah.
yeah.
Their little root systems.
The fungi, that mycelium.
Yeah, I'll be right back. I got to use the bathroom. My teeth are floating.
Okay. Good job though.
That's a really good joke.
Yeah. It's the connectiveness. Well, you know what? I guess I'm this high to be this vulnerable right now.
Be vulnerable.
Yeah, so I never did drugs because I thought they made you a loser. And I was obsessed with music. I just all I've ever wanted to do is be in a band and play music. And I was, so like, I would like practice the set before the show in the van or bus. I would practice after. It was just like scales, and I was like,
I'm the same.
yeah. So drugs, I always was like bad because it just makes people play video games and stop writing songs around me.
Totally. Like,
You know?
sink into the couch.
Oh man, I hated it so much because I'm like, you're brilliant when you're not. Yeah. Anyway, so I was in this really rough spot. Like all of my relationships have failed miserably. Like everything has failed, and so I it's just like, well, it's me. I'm the problem. Like my brain and the way I was taught about love and the I kissed dating goodbye must have just fucked me up. And like, so one day I took acid. The next day I did boxing. The next day I did hot yoga. The next day I went to float tank. Then I did mushrooms. Then I smoked DMT. Like it was like I was just like, nope, fixing this. And when I got to the mushrooms, it was with this old friend of mine. He was in a way worse spot than me, unfortunately. But because of that, I kept going like, are you okay? Are you okay? Are you having fun? Are you okay? And it was like got in this loop for like 30 minutes. Just like, are you okay? Are you having fun? Are you okay? And right at the end of it, I go, oh, my mom was always depressed growing up. And so I had to perform and like make her happy all the time. So like, I'm just completely conditioned to be like,
Yeah.
So right at that moment, I go fucking lay in my grass in the backyard out here actually. And just, I can see like this argyle pattern coming from every plant, like this kind of like laser, like
Yeah.
what Jeff was trying to say, what it's all pinned on, and I'm laying down in it. It was like 100 years of therapy in that first time I did mushrooms. It was one of the most transformative and like beneficial, and like when it was over, I was like a better human, you know?
Because you almost think like it's like for me, I'm really good at starting things. Like I'll start new things all the time. And so like I'm like, oh, I hope this isn't one of those things where I'm like really jazzed about it and then I just go back to like scrolling on my phone or whatever. But it really did make a lasting impact on me. And so like diving into it more of all of these other people who've had experiences, like 80-year-old grandmas who've never done a drug in their life trying mushrooms for the first time and saying like there is something bigger than us. We're really like having these same thoughts. It really makes you understand why these people took this away, because that's really scary to have
Freedom.
if we all had enlightenment. Because I don't remember his name, but he's been like the godfather of mushrooms, and his idea
Paul
basically,
Stamets?
I think so. But the one who was like, if we all basically go take one dose, we can like all move together as a society.
Terrence McKenna.
Okay.
Yeah.
That might be his name. I'm gonna be honest, I'm terrible with like song titles and names, but I like can always see their face and like what the idea is. But it's kind of like if you read somebody's name but you never say it out loud.
Yeah.
That's how a lot of these names are for me. I'm gonna be honest. Like I see them and I read them, but
Yeah, 8 grams, the heroic dose. It's
Yes.
it's pretty fun.
8 grams?
Isn't it? Or 0.8 or 8? I actually don't know
8
because I
grams would
usually
be a lot.
it's a lot. The heroic dose of mushrooms?
Is that what it's called, heroic dose?
yeah, because I'm doing like 2.
Let's look it up because I don't want to fuck that up. What do you
I feel like I'm doing 2 grams. I did 2. So 8 does sound like heroic.
That's a good word for it. Yeah.
Yeah. He has like that stoned ape theory.
What's the stoned ape theory?
It's the coolest idea ever. So when the last ice age receded and grasslands came up, he's assuming that some monkeys, some primates, started experimenting with them eating mushrooms that were growing out of the hooved animals that were now eating the shit.
Yeah.
And so low doses of psilocybin have some interesting effects. One, they make you kind of horny. They make you see very far. That's why sometimes when you're on mushrooms, you look at the moon, it'll be like, that's weird, because it makes you see. And it makes you think abstractly, obviously. So he thinks it kicked off evolution.
I'm so sorry.
That's
my
okay. There's Barney.
little dog.
I thought it was mine. I'm like, how the fuck did he get in here?
He looks like a little rat. Bogey, come here. Come here. This is my bud. He's still a fundamentalist.
He's indoctrined.
Yeah, we have tension in the household sometimes, but
Oh. He's like, you're going to hell.
yeah. It's my job to journey alongside him, though.
Yeah,
Enlightened one day, dude.
he's a sweet boy.
That's
Well,
pretty cool.
he is sweet if he likes you, and
He's
then
sweet to
anyone
you.
else, he's just like will literally bite you.
Yeah.
I kind of like that.
Look at your little face. This is not the dog I was talking about. I love this dog less. No, I'm just kidding.
He knows it.
He does.
Smells it. Yeah.
I think that's why he is. Follows me around. I think he thinks I'm gonna change my mind, but
Yeah.
nope.
When you,
Barney.
5 grams.
when you have five's heroic.
5 grams.
Okay. Yeah.
Yeah.
That's a lot. That we're gonna get ready to trip. Not this weekend. The weekend after this.
Kid free.
I'll let you know because Joshua got stuck in a loop too.
Those are good.
His was a little. He got a little scared, and I was just like, I think I told you a little bit. I just was agreeing with everything he said
Yeah.
because I was afraid I'd get him in like a negative thought bubble. But then like Joshua was very like big on wanting to know like what I'm thinking, and I'm like a lot of times I'll actually just be kind of like just listening, and he's like,
Yeah.
so what do you think? And like he's not said anything, so I'm like, I also think that what you said is a possibility, and we may feel that way tomorrow. And yes, like
That's
but he's
pretty
like,
good though. If you're also tripping and you can do that, that's pretty good. That means you might
oh
be a
no,
shaman.
I was
might have to-
trip sitting.
Oh, okay.
That's
Yeah,
good.
that's very kind of you.
Yeah. Oh no, it was fun. It was really fun. We made like a little den in here, and
Set and setting.
yeah, I just smoked a lot of weed and read,
Yes.
and I took videos of Joshua.
And he was on mushrooms.
Yeah, and I kept making. I had all these songs I wanted him to listen to. So we did a lot of because when I went on it, I swear that David Gilmour's solo.
Oh, he's
Of,
the
like-
best guitar player of all time.
Oh, I know. I was like, I swear the Lyme disease is
yeah.
getting healed from me, Joshua.
Yeah.
From David
resonance.
Gilmour's solo.
Resonance.
I must have been when I was in this band, I was like a super Christian, and everyone in this band was not.
Is this a Vendetta?
Yeah,
Vendetta
it was
Red?
called
Okay.
Vendetta Red. And so the bench was like the order of your hierarchy in the band, and I was in the very back, you know?
Okay.
And so the guy right in front of me, his name was Justin Kruk, and he smoked as much weed as I do now. And so he'd like blow bong rips on me.
Thank you, Justin.
Yeah, he passed sadly, but
Oh
recently. But he
no, I'm so sorry.
Oh, thank you. Yeah, it's he was the one that told me I should get the tattoo. So he was the other guitar player in the band. He's a big deal. But they got me secondhand smoke high because my bench was just like Bible thesauruses and like a Greek dictionary and like like Guns N' Roses tab book. Like I was just back there.
Yeah, the other
practicing.
Bible.
Yeah. Van Halen. Yeah. And so I'm like feeling weird, probably somewhere in Texas, I think. So I'm like, man, this is. And they were playing Dark Side of the Moon, and that one of those solos comes on, Comfortably Numb, probably.
Oh, yeah, I was gonna
And
say.
I was just like,
William.
oh my God. And right then, the bass player, Mike, goes, there will never be a more perfect sounding guitar solo. And I was like, I think he's right.
he
Dude,
is
Yeah,
correct.
Yeah.
fuck with David Gilmour.
You can't. I don't. So much with so little.
Well, and it's also the craziness of Roger too, right? Because like he's such a brash and abrasive, intelligent, and he's smart as shit. So it's like he can back all that shit up. And so that artistic drive with that just like English gentleman, like
Just the smooth.
Yeah, because Gilmour didn't know any like music theory, right?
not
No,
many
he's
of them
just-
did.
Right, that he's just playing.
Yeah, you just make shit up. That's
Hate
the way it
him.
should be.
Good.
It is truly.
Yeah. And
I
I
really
know
do
music
think
theory,
that.
so
Me too.
Yeah.
I was wondering if you did or not, and I was like, it seems like he does, but it doesn't seem like he's like because I felt similar to me, where I was like, yeah, music theory is great and it's really interesting, and it helps. And especially if you're doing like jazz or classical.
Yeah, but it makes you sound mechanical.
Exactly. You got to go for feel. And that's that's why all these self-taught, because like being a classical guitar, dude played with like a penny.
Oh yeah.
But like I kind of wish that I didn't first learn how to solo through jazz and classical guitar, because I feel like every once in a while I find myself in like doing a solo that's like dee da doom ba ding da ding da ding da dum ba dee da.
It's like a scale. Just rudiments. Yeah.
I'm like,
well, I joined a band with Redding once that was like a corporate live karaoke band.
oh yeah, I feel like Joshua was saying something about that. That sounded fun.
Crazy. It was super fun because it was on
sometimes
the off
it was really
days.
fun.
Yeah,
You were
sometimes
in
it
it
was.
too.
Yeah.
Yeah, we did it for a long time. That's how we paid our bills.
Got it. Go on.
Post cancer, that was the saved my brain. Yeah.
Yeah,
Oh,
well,
that's
because
right.
so it was like you have to learn 1,000 songs, no charts, and then they have them all backed up to a click, so it's synced up with the words. And
Varying degrees of backing tracks. Some are just a click, and you're playing the whole thing, and some is like you don't have to. You barely have to play anything.
there's fiddles and so whatever. But
And you never know until you know.
it was rad because it was always like Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday. You know, it was like always the off nights, so you can make money and then have your artsy band that makes no money have Friday, Saturdays. You know,
That is actually pretty sweet.
It was pretty great.
it was rad. Yeah,
and it was great when there was a good singer,
yeah,
and all of a sudden you got this raging band on stage because it's like, the band was amazing.
the band can play.
But you get these people who are like singing Amy Winehouse again, and they suck.
Oh,
Yeah, it would be crazy.
why?
It would be crazy.
The majority, it's Valerie, right?
Oh, always.
And then the majority of them
At rehab.
They always go Valerie by Amy Winehouse, and I just want to be like, it's not written by Amy Winehouse. She didn't write. You think her lover's Valerie with red hair, and she wants to know if like she got that parking fine fixed?
I wouldn't put it past Amy, actually.
Yeah,
I wouldn't be,
Miss Amy.
Yeah.
I at one time at South by Southwest, I met up with some friends who had just left. It was a concert. It was just Amy Winehouse and a guitar player
Really?
in this room. Yeah, and I missed it.
No,
Mikey
before-
Lashes was like, that was amazing.
But was this like, what year was this? Was this
Oh,
like before he started-
2004, 5.
Oh, dude.
2000, right before the Rolling Stone cover.
Had like
I know.
Hard.
best.
I also had the same thing with the White Stripes. They played a shitty little like El Corazon club in Olympia, and my friend was
That's-
like, "Let's go see this band." I'm like, nah.
You didn't go to that either? No.
Well, we were always gone. You're always like,
That makes sense.
yeah. So it was like when you had a day off or a week off, you were like lost.
Or if you were at South by Southwest and you just wanted to get drunk and go to some fucking shitty bar, as opposed to sitting in the orchestra pit and seeing Tom Waits. Yeah. No, I don't want to see Tom Waits. That'll come around again.
Wait, Metallica's played? Oops.
Yeah.
Yeah. It is South by Southwest was the first time I woke up in a gutter, like straight up, like
Wow.
outside a friend's like bus. Almost made it.
That's
Missed
like,
it by
wait, that's
that
so
much.
funny. Joshua has a story like that too. He
We
fell.
have a lot of similars.
Yeah, it was like he was so close to making it through the door, but he didn't make it through the door. It was like, steps.
That's so-
And he was so cold that I think he he woke up, like he was that cold that it woke him up, and he went to go sleep in his car.
As an upgrade, he upgraded himself to the car.
At least 2 degrees warmer. At least.
I slept in a mud room once in Michigan in December. Like, so it's like had the wire, not the window. So it was like
The screens.
and it was because so there was like, this is way early on in my life, so I'm like I'm keeping my virginity for marriage, so but I'm on tour with this band.
Lucky her.
Right, I know so much. I don't
I have
even
some
let
for you, sweetie.
you're not even, you
I
can't
got a
even let the
surprise
thoughts
for
in.
you.
I've seen like 5 JPEGs. Like that's like 4 boobs. So, but like, yeah, there was like a lot of sexy time going on, and there was like
In Michigan.
yeah, and there was this really attractive rad girl, and I thought she was just wanting to have a good conversation. But so I was like moving from room to room, trying to get away from. Yeah, it was horrible. Jesus, I'm just like, Jesus, I love you, Jesus.
Make me warm, Jesus. Keep me from dying of hypothermia, Jesus.
I slept under a table at a party once too. I was actually pretty known for it because I would just get tired because I would never be drinking, you know. So I'd like,
That actually is me too. Like I
Yeah.
remember even on our senior cruise, I got like really seasick. This is in high school, so we weren't supposed to be drinking anyway. But I wasn't drinking, but others were, and I just fell asleep underneath a table because I got so seasick. And then I was like, I'm like, I cannot wait to get back home. But they kept us until 3 a.m.
Oh,
because
my
the idea
goodness.
was to keep people from, like teenagers who go partying. So they kept us until 3 a.m. And nothing's worse than like being forced to be in one position
Hey, party.
with so many people.
the future.
What were you? Where did you go to high school? Like what?
I just went to a regular, at that time, I went public school in the Bay Area.
So did you guys go out on the ocean?
No, I'm more inland. So I was like, yes, we did. We went
Oh fuck that.
San Francisco.
Oh fuck that.
Yeah.
You kidding me? So you went out?
Oh yeah,
in
that's
the ocean.
choppy.
Yeah, it was awful.
Oh,
And
that
there,
sounds
I
horrible.
remember there's
God.
like a fortune card reader and like a face painter. So like as I'm like, I'm hearing like, I want to be a snake, and I'm hearing, you're gonna have to cross that bridge when you get there.
Jeez, you're just like, no, everyone just fuck off.
Yeah, seriously.
Oh man.
Everyone was like, "Are you okay?" And I'm like, "Obviously not." Like, have you ever seen anybody who's okay who's just sleeping at
Green.
a table?
Oh
But
no.
it's okay. It's normal because I actually, the introvert in me was like, no one can see me behind this table curtain.
Mhm.
The best is when there's an air hockey table because then there's not much clearance and no one will find you.
Sounds like you have experience.
Yeah, well, you gotta when you try not to party for Jesus, you can't do anything fun, So like,
Oh, I can't believe you. So impressive.
oh well, I did a lot of bad stuff later on after the divorce, so I
Oh, well,
Well,
wonderful.
And Leif was really good at keeping it kind of close to the chest. Like I didn't know. I don't know. I can't imagine that I knew. I don't know. Did I know you were saving your virginity? Did I know
Yes.
you were going out doing
Known
all
each
these
other
things?
that long.
Oh,
Wow.
we've been whenever he was always in different bands, but he was like in way cooler bands than me. So
I'm just
whenever,
older. I'm just
whatever.
old.
But we've been having these conversations forever. He played for this guy who played in Guns N' Roses named Duff. And then
Yes.
I would,
Loaded.
yeah. So I would pack all their gear because he knew I was obsessed with that band. So him and my other
rad.
friends were like, "Hey, come over here."
Well, and how old were you at the Rocket Records thing?
18.
Yeah, so
That's
I met Leif
right.
when he was 18.
Yeah, he met me
Nice.
basically right before
Legal.
I joined a band. I
Christian
had
band.
a Christian band.
So you were
Had
in a
to be.
Christian band.
I've been in a shitload of Christian bands.
And like, are we talking like basically like Chris Tomlin or like a little more like indie?
No, like Weezery or like we were, it didn't really work, but it was the coolest band, really good musicians. I think we just should have let the lead singer take more control because he was great. He was just so talented. But like, the thing is when you start a Christian band, you're instantly kind of big, right? Because
Yeah.
like you have a built-in
Built-in.
audience. So it's like, yeah, we played like Creation Fest and like we would open for bigger artists and like the
Like
guys.
Striper?
No, but
kidding.
Oz was at one of the gigs on a PAX 217 tour I did.
That's rad.
Is he one of the
Yeah.
Striper guys?
Yeah, he's the crazy
He's the
shredder. Yeah, Oz Fox. But yeah, I mean, one of my buddies in Nashville sold like the most amount of weed I still have pretty much ever seen to one of the biggest Christian artists still in the world, right in front of me. So, well, not in front of me. They went out to the back, but
They're like, we can't show this guy that we're doing this.
well, no, most of those people are really great. Like, all of them I've met. Like, I didn't meet Michael W. Smith, but everyone that did was like, he's so cool. Like, he's apparently just the nicest guy.
Who is that?
Yeah.
He's like he's like the Bryan Adams of the Christian music world.
I think Bryan Adams is the Bryan Adams.
You're fucking totally right.
What,
It's
so
just
he's,
like
so he's Canadian?
people
What are you saying?
saving their virginity to the
For Bryan Adams. Yeah. Yeah.
I
Does it all day
die
long.
for you.
But he's that guy.
He's that guy. But yeah, then so I'm hanging out in green rooms with these guys, and they're fucking legitimate rock stars. And every time there would be like, you know, any type of female around, I would get real squirrely and just like, you know. And so you would be like, hey, hey. Squires would too.
Like, dude, what are you doing?
Ralph's would too, to be honest. And all those, you know, that's why you guys are all some of my best friends.
I don't know. I feel so bad that there wasn't a more active, not intervention necessarily, but just like,
Yeah.
I mean, now we talk and it's like, it's a no brainer, dude. If you get married without having any idea what your counterpart's gear looks like, then you're being set up for failure.
Yeah.
If you have no idea what the mechanism between yours and theirs looks like, or how it should go, or what's going to make it successful, you're not going to be successful. Like nobody wants to do anything they're bad at for the first time in front of somebody that, you know, like it's supposed to be this magical thing. And it's usually the worst experience of most people's lives.
Yeah, and we got married at this theater too. So we got at the Moore Theater in Seattle because I
did.
Yeah, you were there.
I wasn't there.
Oh, you were on tour.
Yeah,
you guys were on tour. Yeah, but there was the whole downstairs was filled.
I was at the second one.
Yeah, you were in it.
The one that didn't happen. The one
that
didn't
did
count.
not happen.
Yes!
Thank God.
You had a second marriage that didn't happen? A second wedding?
Yeah.
Oh,
Yeah.
Crazy. Oh my gosh. That's awful.
That sucked. But I learned a lot. Yeah. So, and scene.
You could do like one person plays where there's just like a spotlight on you.
I have so many weird. So I've been doing this remodel, and my father is crazy, and I'm in
God
the
bless
best
him.
way. Yeah, it's like he's kind of like Rick from Rick and Morty.
Yeah,
and this guy named Red Green, if you know Red Green, but he's like not quite a hillbilly of that, but he's like, he will duct tape that shit together and it will last for 40 years if it's gonna, you know. So like, we've been building homes since I was a little kid, like, so
that's so cool.
He's over here helping me do some of this electrical, and like in the background is all the weird AM radio I grew up listening to, which is so it's like Coast to Coast, Art Bell's old show, you know? Yeah. So it's like a guy that like, well, first started off with a dating service, a dating app for conspiracy theorists.
Brilliant. I'm listening. Where was this 12 years ago?
Right. So it's like the
Had you put like the theory you believe most in your bio?
I want to.
Right.
I mean, I'm not going to check it out because I'm super happy. But yeah, but like, yeah, it's like what?
I'm really into the Mayan calendar, and I think the
year 2012 is it.
totally,
the fucking
that's the
moon
one for me.
landing was totally fake. What do you think? Let's go bike riding.
I don't want any of those
dumplings?
crazy
Are
flat
there any
earthers, though.
conspiracies not allowed? Because we could really go pretty far.
Well, the next
Wow, maybe
segment
this
was
is our platform.
I was trying to be objective, but the next segment was a cop who had a really great relationship with his Chihuahua, then passed away, and then his Chihuahua would visit him from the other realm, and he wrote a book about it. And it was great. It was a great segment. Like,
What was the Chihuahua's name? Because that's interesting to have. Like, it'd be funny if its name was like, I don't know, like
it's
Choco, and it's like this big divine experience. through this relationship with Chaco.
That what was his name? His name was Pinche Way.
Well, that we have a dog down the street. Well, I think this dog, I don't know if this dog exists anymore, but it kept coming to our house and its name was Pito.
Wow.
And I was like,
He must
I didn't
work
even
in the
want
church.
to ask how it was spelled. Because
No.
if there was an A involved, I was like, I'm out. But
Yeah.
I like to think that it wasn't. But Pito doesn't visit us anymore.
I think
We
that
don't
might
get
be-
visited by Pito.
He's got 200 yards. I think he has to keep, right?
Yeah, maybe
We
he
do
got-
live near a school, so
Yeah, he's got.
probably get incarcerated.
I think he's got an ankle brace.
Totally.
But who names their dog Pito?
Maybe it's like PD with a T, you know,
Someone who doesn't know.
PD.
That person still had to say it aloud as he was.
A lot.
Or she
Pito.
was naming it.
Even if it like ends in a T, still sounds the
Yeah,
same.
it does. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah. That's
Maybe,
that's really,
maybe how old was the dog? Maybe it was before
old.
Pedo was like, yeah. So maybe it was pre
Pre
Pedo being in the vernacular.
Yeah, pre vocab.
Yeah.
I feel
Pre-vocab.
like that was around for a long time though.
Well, mostly English. That's who I hear them calling
Yeah.
them pedos, but it's pretty new. over-
Pedophiles.
Yeah.
Pedophile. Pedophile.
We just got to loop that. Pedophile.
It's also like whenever John, I don't know why it's always John Lennon, but when he's talking about
Love
like
is my favorite.
having an artistic child, he constantly says autistic child.
Well, because they don't enunciate A's at the end of words. It's
Exactly.
really weird. Have you ever like champagne supernova?
yeah,
Supernova.
baggy bowl, baggy bowl.
Yeah, we have a
Spaggy
producer, Martin. He does it too. Yeah.
He does spaggy bowl.
No, like he's got a proper accent. He's fucking. He's like
Nice
basically James Bond.
Wait,
Yeah.
that's kind of rad though.
He's awesome.
Yeah.
I wish our accent sounded more intelligent.
Yeah.
Dude,
It doesn't. Don't you?
I have to edit this podcast. I have to listen to myself. It's fucking awful. And Jeff makes me all happy. So normally I have like a really low voice, but I get like as the podcast goes on, I'm like by the end, I'm like, oh, and Fred, what do you want to?
Anything. God, it's great.
Like I can literally hear it happening like through the arc. It's horrible. It's like I got no cool. I have no mystery. It's unfortunate, but
I know. I
it's
feel
just
like
the way
that's.
it is.
I wish I had more mystery too, but I'm too much of an oversharer. And I'll just say, like, I could just stop talking
You
at
can't.
any time.
I grew up alone. I would be like talking to trees, you know, and
Me
so
too.
like
I was
once-
an only child. So I feel
Oh.
like, Leif, you and I might actually have a lot of common in that. Like, I felt like I was alone a lot.
Yeah, yeah.
But I would like make shows. So I'd like, if I were like, I'd pretend I was like doing a cooking show and like the reflection of the microwave, like just like really sad.
Yeah, now you look back and you tell friends, and they're like, "What? Your best friend was a pet rock in your
I
yard?"
was like, I had this glitter that would make my stuffed animals come to life. Like,
Awesome. Life would
so
go
rad.
next door and ask them if the dog could come out and play.
oh yeah, you did. That's oh.
Like, yeah, all the time, like 3 times a week.
Hey, what's Roscoe doing today?
Yeah, Saber.
Saber.
Hey, can Saber come out and play?
You're every day. You're like, hey, I found this tennis ball.
Yeah, we would just sit out there for like, well, my family bought this. Have you ever seen that movie Fight Club?
Yes.
So that's basically what my house looked like, but it was on the end of this dead end road, and it was
Yeah,
like on a
with
river.
the like the water, a river.
Yeah, there was a
creek in
big
the middle.
river.
Yeah.
It was a huge in the backyard, and so we had this football field because all these neighbors' backyards were put together, so you could just chuck these balls all day for her. And she was a husky, like she looked more like a wolf mix, but so I would just she was my dog.
When she was available.
When she
Yeah.
goes to dog therapy, she's like, "There's this young boy who
We had a connection.
we did, and then I never saw him again. What happened to Saber?"
She got put out to a pasture. This is because I was like 13, 12, so she died when She died shortly after that because she was pretty
Figured.
old.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. Then we got a dog after that was named Sassy, which was a golden retriever German Shepherd mix. And that dog fucking ruled. It was the smartest dog, nicest dog. Like, so, and then my aunt went through a hard time. They have a crazy story. They escaped a colt up in Alaska. And so they had this dog that had grown up with goats, like in the yard with all these goats. And it was like a German Shepherd, but it was the fattest fucking German Shepherd I'd ever seen. So I don't know what was mixed in there because it was gay. It would just dominate all the dude dogs in the neighborhood, just be like all day, just like dominating them. And so it was so fat that my family would go on these runs for PE because we're homeschooled, and that's just like literally running on an abandoned train trestle track, out in the wood, like.
Yeah.
And so Sassy would come with us and do like the full mile or 2 miles, whatever we do. And
That's
Scotty,
so cool.
Scotty did it once, and he was just dripping white sweat, like white.
Scotty's the other dog.
Fat dog, yeah. And so we do this every day. So like the second time we went, the second day, that motherfucker just got up there, laid down, that like right in the middle of the trail. And when we came back, he was still there, and he just like looked up and fucking kept going down with us. He
That's
did that
awesome.
every day for years. It was so
I'm going to hold down the fort right here. I'll make sure no one crosses the trail.
yeah.
I'm just gonna look at this clover here for a 2nd and I'll catch up. I'll catch up with you guys later.
Yeah, no, you guys.
You guys be cool.
Yeah.
Be safe out there.
But like, they are like little spirit guides.
Aren't they?
Yeah. We lost a dog recently. She had a brain aneurysm, and it was like, God, I think I'm even getting a tattoo. Like I'm still barely recovered from it.
I feel that. I mean, I would never get a tattoo of a dog ever, personally. But yeah, that's good for you, Leif. No, I'm totally the same. I do unfortunately have to get going here around 11, so I don't know if there's anything. I'm having so much fun. I'll come back any other time you want.
Yeah, you should come back a lot. How about, do you have anything
sure.
to promote? Because you got a lot of cool shit.
Joshua's OnlyFans is really taking off.
Sweet. We need to collab.
Okay, what can I? Yeah, we do
can-
have stuff happening. Oh, go on.
Do you want us to throw a little bit? We'll edit that little part, and you can put it up on the OnlyFans with the dong.
Yes.
Yeah.
This is the kind of content you'll receive.
Yeah, not the dog, the dong.
The dog.
The dong.
But basically,
dong.
okay, what are we doing? All of our songs on TikTok and Instagram at Original Sinfluencer. And we have a Buy Me a Coffee now, which is basically a subscription for the people who've been wanting to like get more content and support us in whatever way they can. And that has like a newsletter. It has behind the scenes of how we make our videos and write our songs, and we share a lot of the process behind like what goes into everything. And then we also have some merch in our link tree, which is rad. We just ordered our Original Sinfluencer mug, and it has like a little snake on it, so that's coming in. And then we're really trying to figure out a way to get our church, in quotes, church on your knees, like actually out into the public. Yes, our church is called Church on Your Knees. My women's group is called Her Burning Bush, which is a discipleship for women with a past. And by women with a past, I mean when they were 17, they had a beer at Jason's party. And then,
We've all been there.
Oh my God.
actually did muscle relaxers, so she like came in hard with like, whoa, okay, you got real trauma. Let's so yeah, that's pretty much it. Merch, subscription into these songs we're writing.
And where is it? Is there a website or like TikTok
Yeah.
or social?
Yeah, so it's at Original Sinfluencer on Spotify. Our music is Tristan and Sage. So like TRYSTEN, ampersand. SAYGE. And we've got a few songs on there. One of the songs even has a donkey mating sound, and it's in the same key of the song.
That's
amazing.
That's a
So
gift.
we could have used a pitch shifter, sure.
No,
But we wanted
because
the
you're
real
anointed.
It was the magic.
authentic.
Yeah.
The magic of love.
Wanted the mating in G probably as well.
Adonai is with you.
Or C. Probably
'Cause-
C. Who am I kidding? It's C.
See,
4 or 5.
G's a really popular key.
It is, but it has a sharp in it, Leif. And you of all people know. The once it has a sharp in it, we can't play that, dude. Unless it's E. Unless it's E major for
C works. C works. Just hold down the sustain pedal, hit all the white keys.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Just gonna stay on the second and first string. All day. All you need. But yeah, that's pretty much it. I'd love to just do this full time, and I love teaching students, and I work at a school and all of that, and we have our own, but it'd be so fun to just do basically this like comedy, musical,
creative.
satirical, whatever. But we
It's
just don't really
obviously-
know what it's gonna look like.
It's obviously
Yeah.
working.
It's awesome though.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. People obviously like it.
We do want to one day figure out a way to do like a retreat or like an adult summer camp type of situation, where we'd have like basically we'd kind of like Sherpa you through a whole like eating really clean and doing meditation and Wim Hof and
Oh, dude, I love that Wim Hof shit.
right.
That's I
Just
quit
kind
smoking
of
the first
like
time.
yeah, right. So that's why we just wanted to, I don't know, we just want to create an experience where we're not trying to change anybody's minds or trying to sell anything. We're just really, we're entertainers. We're entertaining a thought process and a perspective that we find interesting. And that's all it is. We want to entertain you and get you to think about it. And then if you, do with that what you will. Because I don't understand this trying to change people's minds necessarily or getting them to do what you say, because at the end of the day, it's really pointless to try to argue with some of these people.
It definitely won't
You're here.
work.
Mm-mm.
Yeah, but you guys being so awesome, Will.
Yeah.
Everyone's
That's
like,
the
look at
hope.
how much fun is
Awesome
happening
works.
over there.
Yeah.
Yeah, we don't have to worry about the summer campus. I also have a friend that actually has a psychedelic church legally. So if you guys need the
Ooh,
lawyer,
yes, because I feel like Joshua was telling me about that, and we have one near us in Oakland for mushrooms, and I think something else, but I'm not sure what.
oh, I
but-
can't wait till that stuff's legal.
I know.
Mushrooms are legal here.
They are. You
Yeah.
can go buy them from a store.
No. But
Oh.
it's not illegal to have them or to grow
Yeah,
them.
they're legal. Wait, where are you again? What state are you in now?
I'm
Washington.
up Washington.
You're Washington, but then where
Yeah.
are you, Leif?
Oh, I'm out
Currently
by-
in Washington.
I'm currently in Washington, but I'm out by the mountain.
It's the same state though.
It's the same state, but
Same-
it's a
same-
really
same
tiny
laws.
town. Like, there's not even a mailman. And
Oh, maybe I should come out there today. Cole's
I'll be-
Cole's home from school today.
I'll be working upstairs. You're welcome to. I'm fucking pounding nails. I've been bent over pounding nails for like
Bent over pounding.
I had to, it's
Maybe
horrible.
we'll sneak up on you.
Fall through the roof.
Only I was gonna make a really inappropriate joke.
You can.
Please do.
Oh. I feel like the timing is off, but I was gonna do
Yeah,
something
yeah.
to the
Okay,
effect
we're
of,
gonna
like,
we're gonna start
Leif
laughing.
finishes as soon as he sees you, and then it makes your relationship all very strange.
That's my finish.
or just opens
Sorry,
our relationship into the golden shower that it should have been.
We're all for intimacy. We're all
I
for
think-
intimacy here.
Yeah, exactly.
we've known each other for a long
Probably a
time.
pretty good place to end it.
We
right
have
there.
Yeah, right
found
there.
it. Yes.
Right there. I
Having
think we
it
did
alive.
it. This was so much fun. Thank you so much.
Oh gosh,
So
thank
done.
you so much.
Yeah.
There's good stuff to use, and
Oh, yeah. There'll be once I'm done with this remodel. There'll be a bunch more Sinfluencer clips too. I've got
Nice.
about 800.
And we had Dong.
We had Dong in it.
it
yeah.
had dog.
Yeah. I do have to edit that out
Why?
so we don't get yanked off of YouTube.
What about a little blurry?
Yeah, what are you?
No,
Phyllis,
I
Dave?
took a
What about a
picture
little-
and he was
little
there.
Japanese
Now I got to send
fuzzy?
him my dick though too.
Yeah, make
because,
it
like,
fuzzy.
That's the only way to make it fair.
Or like it'd be funny
I'll
if you
have to
did
be
like
creative.
an obnoxiously large black box.
Well, I
all the
do
way
have a
around.
Jesus costume, so we'll see.
Maybe you should make the little
What?
Jesus costume small and put it in front of his dong. But that's what's blocking it out.
could
You in a
make
Jesus
it-
costume?
Yeah, we could do. There's a lot.
We've already talked about the Jesus OnlyFans. It is not. That has a 100% success rate in public for bombing.
Yep.
Every
For
time I
bombing.
brought that up, it is everyone at the bar gets mad because I was about to start a Jesus OnlyFans.
I mean, I'm not. Yeah, you shouldn't take advice from me, but if you did take advice from me,
It's pretty funny, huh?
But that being said,
what is the link?
Just think about like all the fucking shit you could do. You know, there's so
Seriously.
many stories. Like
yeah.
Jesus heals leprosy, and so like I roll into a town, and I'm like, I can heal you, my child. You know, and
Yeah.
then it's like the music starts.
Show him the balls.
Yeah.
Everybody's healed.
Exactly.
Why not? Other people are making money off Jesus.
Just everything. Every time you heal someone, it's just showing the balls.
Yeah. Which, speaking of which, have you seen the show? I feel like this is a terrible transition, but have you seen the show Black Jesus?
Yeah, but
No.
yeah, in hotel rooms.
It's so funny.
Yeah, is it Adult Swim? I love that shit.
It could be. I feel like
Jesus
we've
is
been
like a
watching it on
brotherhood.
HBO,
Okay.
but it's
It's
really
called Black
funny 'cause-
Jesus.
Yeah, because he
He's,
makes
like,
a joke
hard.
like he's like, because like he basically like smokes everybody's weed, and they're like, dude, like we don't see you throwing down anything, and he's like, okay, so like me turning water into wine wasn't enough for you all.
Hello.
Walking on water is not good enough. And then they're like, just do one of your miracles. And he's like, I told you, Pops won't let me do it.
That's awesome. I gotta watch that.
It's actually really funny because if you do think of it through the lens of somebody who is like trying to get you to come to Christ, it's actually pretty brilliant because it, like storytelling is the greatest way for us to remember things. So like just the first episode alone is hilarious. It's so funny.
I'll take that. I'll take this recommendation. There was another
For
movie
sure.
you recommended too. Fuck. This is now a 5-joint podcast.
Yes. Which, speaking of which, I'm going to go try to do that before I teach one of the worst students in my life.
Oh my god.
Sorry
I
to
used
hear
to have
that.
a student that I would let her hit me in the head 10 times with her guitar if she would just sit down and play the C major scale for me.
Oh God. Okay. So you understand that too. I just like, I don't, it's like, sometimes I'm like, okay, just take your hand. Okay. Let me see your left hand. No, your left hand.
Right.
Your other hand. Take your other hand and down. Yes. Leave that one up. Now take that. No, the other, okay. Take your right hand, tap your shoulder. All right, that hand, follow it to the finger. Okay, good. Stay. Okay, now turn it towards you. What's your third finger? Good. Now play it. And you're just like, oh, this child.
And they're like, YouTube.
Yeah, I also had another, I also get little kids who are saying things like, I already know this. And I'm like, okay, great, then play it.
Oh, yeah.
They're like, I already know how to do this. And I was like, really? Well, let me introduce you to a metronome. Go ahead.
Yeah, boy. Yeah.
Yeah. All your dreams are now shattered.
Yeah, I can do it so fast with the recording. Uh-huh.
Yeah, right. Yeah, with the bumpers up. Yeah, I'm sure you're a great bowler.
Exactly. Strikes every time.
Okay, well, I'm going to go prepare for that. But
All
I'll
right.
come back anytime you want me
Great.
to. Maybe next
Awesome.
time me and
We love you.
Joshua. But thank you.
Yeah.
Love you
Yeah.
guys.
Love
you
you.
too.
Bye.
Bye.
Bye, whole world.